I recently did a poll in the dog trainer marketing Facebook group that I run, and I asked everyone, why aren't you increasing your prices right now? And the number one answer, about 50% of dog trainers said they would increase their prices, but they just don't think that they could get higher prices for what they're offering. And likely it's because they often get no's for their current prices. And they think if I boosted my prices any higher, I would just get more no's and I would lose money. And in this video, I'm going to explain three things that you can do to actually increase your prices and maybe even get more yeses than you are now at your lower prices. So the first thing you need to understand, and it'll be the first of the three, is that it is possible to increase your prices and get yeses for what you offer. And the reason you might not think that's possible is because you have a misconception on why you're getting no's for your prices. And a lot of times, dog trainers think the reason that people are saying no is because number one, they just don't have the money, they can't afford it, or they just don't think that dog training is that valuable. Like they don't value what you do. So it's one of those two things. And if that was the case, they just don't physically have the money, or people won't pay that for dog training in the area where you live. If that was the case, that people just won't pay it, then there really isn't anything you could do. And your prices are set where they are forever. However, that's not the case. There's things you can do about that. We're going to talk about that. That's number 2 and 3. But number 1, you need to understand that it is possible to get more for your dog training services. And the reason I know that is because I've been helping dog trainers with their business and marketing for way over 10 years. And there's such a range of what dog trainers charge that I know that just about anything's possible. So it's silly to me if somebody was charging $2,000 for a large dog training program and they were to think, oh, I can't charge more because no one will pay that. The next person I might be speaking to might be charging $4,000 for a very similar program. So when you have the perspective that I have and you see all these different types of businesses and you've seen so many dog training programs and so many different ways that dog trainers do things, you realize the flexibility, you realize the potential. And if you're holding yourself back because you think people are just not willing to pay more, you're simply just holding yourself back, because if you saw it the way I do, you realize that there's a lot more potential than you realized. So step number 1 is to just understand that it's possible. Because if you go into consultations and you think, I would charge more, but people won't pay it, you're going to be right. They're not going to pay it because it's going to come across in your confidence in what you offer. If you don't believe that your programs are worth what you're charging people, you don't believe it, how could you expect them to believe it? So a lot of this is just confidence. And I've seen it time and time again, where if you're not confident in what you offer, or you have some kind of a mental hang up, like you feel guilty about what you're charging, something like that, it will just come across in the way you sell. And then you'll get no's. And then you'll think the reason you're getting the no is because people aren't willing to pay. However, if someone else was sitting there and offering their similar programs, but without all these mental hangups, the person might have said yes. So what people say they can afford and what they actually have is not the same thing. So you have to think about it. There's 2 factors here. There's what you're offering and there's the person's money. So you have to demonstrate that your service is more valuable, the solutions that you have that you can offer them, the transformation from where they are now with their dog and where you can take them, the light at the end of the tunnel, the end results, the benefits, the less problems they would have, the less stress. You have to demonstrate that your ability to take them from there to the solution is worth more than their money. So it doesn't matter if what you are offering is $1,000 or $5,000. If you can do that and you can show that what you can provide is worth more to them than the money, then you're going to get a yes. If your sales process and your programs, they're not demonstrating that what you can do is worth the money, even if it's $1,000, they might say no, because they're comparing the two things. Is what you can do worth more than my money? If it is, then they're going to give you the money. If they don't think so, it's going to be a no. So it's not just that in general, they won't pay whatever you think they'll pay for dog training. It's that you're not showing the value in what you do. And the way you do that is in step 2 and 3 here. So number 1 is you have to really believe that people will be willing to pay the price that you're asking for your dog training. If you don't believe that, then you're in your own way from the start. And I can confirm right now that it's definitely possible, because I've seen it so many times. And if you go on mayfieldsadogtrainer.com, you'll see a ton of stories and testimonials and things of people doing this. So I know it's definitely possible. So now you believe it. Like when I go to sell, it is possible to get more, but I have to do something differently. I have to adjust what I'm doing in order to make that happen. So the first thing you really need to do is look at your programs. So dog trainers who are able to raise their prices and get yeses for it, they often will make adjustments or improvements to their programs. So this is really important because your programs, it's the way they get to the end result that they want. They have to really want the things in these programs. So if you have your programs structured correctly, your programs will include practical things like maybe number of lessons, although you don't have to specify the number of lessons, but it's just the way the training happens. But then often things that people really want, like extra features that make things easier for them, that make the training go faster and just make it more fun and more exclusive. And when you include those things in there, then they want those things. And people buy things that they want, not only what they need. So you have to make your programs like very attractive to people. So that's really important because if you're not actually selling something that they want, it's like having a restaurant and you have a menu item and that this meal is just absolutely amazing. And if they could only just taste it, then they would definitely want it every single time. However, the description in the menu, it just says steak with potatoes, something like that. But if they actually saw what it looked like, it would just be like absolutely amazing. It has all these extras. It has special sauces and it's just incredible. But your description is not demonstrating it. So you can't just have this amazing service that you provide your dog training with a description that doesn't make it sound good. And that has to do with your programs, like the way they're written, the way they're described, all those things. They have to be done in a way that makes them appealing to the dog owner. So improving the way you describe what you do, maybe tweaking some of the features in there can help you increase your confidence too. Because if you think your programs look great, when you try to sell them to people, it'll come across in your demeanor and you'll be more enthusiastic and they'll trust you more and they're going to want your programs. So that's a super important thing. And all of them connect, like your confidence and your programs. And then the third thing is the way you sell. So one of the other comments in that poll that I did, someone added one of the choices that you can make. And she said, the reason I'm not able to get more than what I'm getting now is because I need to increase my selling skills. And if I increase my selling skills, I would get more yeses. And I thought this was just such an amazing, insightful answer to the question that the people who just said people won't get what I might ask. I can't get what I would ask for. People are just going to say no, are missing the most important thing is that you have your prices and your selling skills. So if your selling skills are down here and your prices are here, then you're going to get no's. But as soon as your selling skills improve, you're going to get yeses. And then when your selling skills get really good, then your prices can go up. So there's really these two factors. It's your ability to sell, your ability to communicate, and how much you're asking. And if things are even and you just increase your prices beyond your ability to sell and communicate, you're going to get more no's. But if they both go up, you'll get more yeses. And if you increase your ability to sell, then you can increase your prices. So if you're missing one of those factors and think it's just about people saying yes or no to my prices, but not thinking that I have a lot of influence in whether they're going to say yes or not, then you're going to have trouble increasing your prices. So those are the three things, and they're all connected. Number one is just your ability to know that you can do it, that it is possible, that other people are doing it. And if they're doing it, then you can do it. And over time, you should see your prices going up. If they're stagnating for a really long time, or if you feel like you have to lower your prices because people are saying no, then you're missing those other two things, which is your programs and your ability to sell. So those three factors will determine whether you can increase your dog training prices. You might not even realize that your selling skills and your programs have outpaced your prices. So you might be in a situation where you have improved your selling, your programs are better, but your prices have been left behind. So that's why I said in other videos, and maybe I said it in this one, that sometimes dog trainers, they look at their prices and they're like, I'm just going to try something crazy on my next consult. I'll bump up my prices by 25% each, and I'm just going to see what happens. And they get yeses, and they keep them that way. And they realize that They could have had their prices higher the whole time. And that's often because they did get better at selling over time. They did improve their programs, but they kept their prices the same. So in a situation like that, you might just be able to increase your prices and get yeses. In other cases, you first need to increase your selling skills and maybe improve your programs and think about your mindsets. Do I feel guilty about charging more? Do I really think what I'm offering is worth what they're paying? And a lot of that is because you don't really understand what you're providing to people. If you think people won't pay that for dog training, you're not really thinking about it in the best way, because what they're paying for isn't just dog training. What they're paying for are the life-changing benefits that you provide them. It's the before and after. It's that they're going to go for a walk this morning on a really nice day here in Pennsylvania, if you are in Pennsylvania, and it'll be a nightmare. And the dog will be pulling on the leash, and they'll come home and they'll think, I'm not walking this dog anymore. This is a disaster. Or maybe it's one of their family members that comes back and says, I can't deal with this dog. This is a nightmare. Or maybe they were kept up all night long because the dog was like scratching in the crate, making noise, barking at every sound they hear outside. And it's making them miserable. And now you can come along and solve these issues for them and help them. And now they can go on a walk and enjoy it. Now they don't feel guilty that they're skipping walks with their dog and keeping the dog in the house because they want to avoid the walks because it's so bad. Now they feel good about themselves. They're not stressed, anticipating, I got to walk the dog, or what's going to happen when I come home from work. When I come home, is that dog going to have busted out of its crate and destroyed everything? And they're thinking about this. But now after you help them, they can leave the dog and go out shopping and not worry because of separation anxiety, something like that. That's what you're providing people, and that's what they're willing to pay for. So if you think about it like that, what you're actually doing for people are these amazing life-changing benefits, and you think that way, and you know what you're doing for them, then you'll feel good about your prices. If you're thinking about it like a commodity, dog training, is it really worth that much? All I do is a few lessons and that's it. It's not that hard for me. I come over and I do these things and now the dog listens. This is easy. Why should I charge so much for that? Then you're in that mindset where you're really not understanding what you're actually providing to people. If you think about it like that, then, it's easy for me. Why should I charge that much? You're going to undercharge a lot. So now I wouldn't recommend doing that because you'll get burned out and you won't be able to get as good results for people too. Your business will suffer. So think about it like that. You need to increase your confidence, know that you can do it. And you can do that by really understanding what you're doing for these dog owners and for their dogs. You need to think about your programs. Are they structured in the best way? Do they include things that people really want and not only what people need? And understanding that if I increase my selling ability, I'll be able to get more for what I currently offer. So I highly recommend you think about that. And I am very confident that if you do, you will be able to increase your prices and maybe even get more yeses than what you're getting right now for your currently lower prices.